Moved in on Goodrich Street.
Did you know my mother then, or?
No, we didn't know her then.
I didn't know you lived on Goodrich Street.
Goodrich Street. Goodrich. No, Ann. Goodrich
So you
Street.
never liked my mother?
Goodrich Street.
I never met her.
You know what I mean? She always liked me.
Well, they didn't know you in
Where did
1926.
we live when Mum met you?
You
In
lived up in
Dunklets, was
her
it?
Uncle Matt's.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we moved in there after Dad got sick, see? We moved in there when Dad was in the hospital.
And that was
see?
1926?
No, it was later than that. Because I was 17. I
Moo would
think.
wake up in the morning, she'd be looking for me. And she'd look out the window and she said, I'd be way up in a high tree.
Was her mother still
Looking in at
alive
her.
when you knew?
No, her
Oh,
mother was dead.
She already died?
Yeah,
And what year did you meet her about, my mother?
her mother.
When you moved to, did you
When
meet
we
her?
lived in Uncle Matt's place.
Well, what year did your mother die?
Well, what year is Uncle Matt's? Or what year did you move to Uncle Matt's place?
We'll see.
Mum died in 1937.
They were in there for a while.
Mum,
37?
37.
When did Aunt Bessie die? The year before?
No, Aunt Bessie died the same year. Aunt Bessie died 23rd of February 1937. Mum died the 17th of April 1937. 6 weeks after Aunt Bessie died, Mum died. She went into shop when they were so close, you know, it was her sister-in-law. They were so close. Aunt Bessie had a stroke. It must have been a stroke she had. And she was only laid up 1 week from day to day. And Andy, the snow was right up to the tops of the wires, you know, the pole.
Yeah.
You'd be walking along the snowbanks and the wires would be down there, you know.
That's
We
how
had
it
so
was.
much snow that winter.
So what year did your mother die? We don't know that yet.
Mum
Well,
died
no,
1930.
no, this is my mother.
Your mother.
My mother had to die before then because I was only young. And my dad, Stella Reed, was a
Yeah.
relation to my dad.
Yeah, right.
And he had in a coffin, name got mixed in summers, and he had my mother waking out there, you know.
Now, do you want to get in touch with Stella Reed is still around, you know?
No, well, no, she, no.
How is she related to the Oakleys?
I don't know. Is there a coffin? People by the name of coffin?
Well,
or
if
what?
Stella Reed is still around, maybe she knows how they're related to the Oakleys. Maybe I should talk with her about that.
I don't know if Stella would know that.
Yeah, Stella's married. She married Harry Constantine. He's dead now. But Stella, I could locate Stella for
But
you.
I don't know if she would know.
Is she related to your father?
Pardon?
Not that I know
Is she
of.
related to Will Oakley?
But wherever my mother...
I think Anne said she... Yes, your mother was waked out there, out to
Yeah.
Annie Reed's. Annie Reed's in Cook Street. Yeah. Because your mother, that's where your mother was waked.
And was Annie Reed Stella's grandmother?
Annie Reed, you know Gert Hickey?
Yeah.
Annie Reed was she married Gert Hickey's half-brother, Huey Hickey.
Do I know Gert Hickey? Which?
Gert Hickey, Gert and Mark, the short girl. They used to come into the house and when we were in Uncle Matt's. They lived on Goodrich Street, you know.
I don't remember.
Don't
much
remember
about
them, don't you? Remember the Courtneys? Jack
I
Courtney?
sure do.
Yeah.
Jack Courtney. You know,
Remember when we were Victoria Street, you'd be laying in wait for Jack, you know,
the pester.
to torment him behind
Yeah, because he used to bother her because he was always after her or something, and he had a sister that sued him. But I was thinking through the years, you know, what a child sees it does, and we learn from other people.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was sitting down playing on Cabot Street, and
Nursing supervisor, please call extension 401. Nursing supervisor,
threw a bucket of
extension
water out the
401.
window over me, and I just sitting down playing jacks, right? And here they were upstairs laughing their heads off at throwing a bucket of water over me.
Yeah.
And years later, when you moved out of town, and Jack Courtney comes, he was out somewhere in the yard, and I threw a bucket of water out through the window
Yeah, I
on him.
remember that.
Wasn't that
I remember
terrible?
her hair, you know, she used to get an egg for to wash her hair, remember?
Mm-hmm.
She'd have an egg. She used to put it in her hair before she'd wash it, because her hair was right light, you know. And every time she'd get an egg to wash her hair, Matt would get it and fried for his breakfast. She'd get up looking for her egg. Matt would be after eating, remember?
Oh, he was a butter.
My God, he'd be always tormenting. I used to torment your mother.
I thought food was scarce back then. What were you using an egg to wash your
Oh, I'd
hair
get that
for?
one egg and I'd hide that. I'd keep that. That was special
She
for me.
values that. She
I wouldn't eat an egg, but I kept it for that.
kept it for her hair, like a shampoo, you know.
Supposed to put a shine or something on it.
So nobody knows how Will Oakley was married to the
You
Cobbins?
had lovely hair. She had lovely blonde hair. It was nice with sort of a wave in it,
Hair
you know,
was
it was
it?
fluffy like, you know.
Mhm.
I had to put up bobby pins to come see you.
Will Oakley was married to the related to the Coffins through Stella Reed, you say?
Some relations. Like
Were
Yeah.
you telling me?
Now,
See, I didn't care when I was young.
Stella Reed, they must have been related, because that's where Mrs. Oakley was, you know, when she died, that's where she went, at Stella Reed's grandmother's.
Could it have
Or
been
Stella
a?
Reed's aunt, her aunt.
Could it have been
Alright.
just a friend of the
Annie,
family?
Annie Reed, and it was her grandmother. I suppose I don't know if her grandmother was
Well,
alive
my
then.
name is Annie Reed
Yeah.
Johnson after her Scotland, Oakley.
That's right. There, see.
Her name is Annie, A-N-N-I-E.
Annie Reed, yeah. See, Annie Reed.
Is
Her
there
mother-
R-E-I-D?
her mother's name could be Annie Reed too, see?
Is there R-E-I-D?
R-E-I-D, yeah.
That's it.
What was her aunt's
They-
name?
they live-
What was her aunt's name?
I don't know.
Where they were laid out?
It had to be Reed, was it?
It was they must have been related to her, because that's where she was waked from, wasn't
Well,
it?
didn't you tell me that there was somebody by the name of Coffin that was asking for your father on his deathbed? And
Well, my dad was telling a story one time that somebody wanted to see him, was his uncle or aunt or somebody, and their name was Coffin, and they kept calling for Dad and calling for him,
Yeah,
and they wouldn't let him in, but the person kept calling for Dad,
yeah.
so Dad was upset, you know. I'll tell you, there's a lot of things in this life happens. There was a woman that lived on Goodyear Street, and her name was Irene Lehman,
Yeah.
and there's nobody who would go to see her or visit her. She was from another part of the island, so I would go down to see her, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one in the family who would go around here, there, and everywhere, right? That's the kind I was. So I would go down to see her. And when I'd go to leave, one time I remembered, because she had a poker, and she said, "Now you sit down there." She wouldn't let me go, see? Well, I didn't realize then I was a child. But I think she was lonely, because she had no one. And she wanted me to stay with her, and then after so long, then she would let me go, you know. And I remember one day a crowd of kids was running after, chasing me down the road, and she come out and yelled at him. But I didn't notice it then, but it struck out strange in my mind that she should come out and yell at them and stop them. So when I got older and away from everybody else where I was running, and Cicely and Bruce and that, then your mind travels back. So I thought she must have liked me,
Yeah.
or she wouldn't come out. But when I was young, she disappeared. She went down, they said she was in a nursing home.
Oh, yeah.
And I found the nursing home. It was down by the Bannerman Park, way down around there somewhere. I went to see her.
Must be the old lady's home, was it?
I went to see her, and she gave me $2. I think it was $2.50. I don't know. And she said Reverend Brenton only would give her so much money to come back soon, and she would give me more.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money then.
Yeah.
So I didn't want her to think that I was looking for her to give me more money. So I didn't go back that week. I waited. And somebody told me that she died. And I was so upset. I was the only one who was going looking for her.
Yeah.
And I looked and looked, and then somebody said, "She's on Water Street." And I get down Water Street, and I said, "Where's the funeral parlor?" And they said, "She's up there." And I looked up, and the windows were all boarded up. You couldn't see her. And I asked a man that was on the street, you know, "Could you get up there?" And he says, "No, it's boarded up." And I was heartbroken. I felt I didn't get down to see her, and she had nobody. And then I live a life thinking about it, my whole life, thinking about that. Why didn't I get to see her? Because she had no one. And now I find out from a relative that Andy went to visit that she died a year before I went to the States. All them years she was alive when I could have been visiting her.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So who told me, somebody on Goodyear Street told me that she died. Who'd be evil enough to tell that to a child? To tell a child that she died? Did they think that I was going there and she was going to will me or things?
Yeah.
Because her house there, everybody, the neighbors said that they're all down in her house going through everything and buying things.
Yeah.
And the church got her house, and
She must have left her house to church.
Well, what year did they tell you she died?
I was a child. She was only.
Did you know Marie and Mo?
No, I didn't. She was only down there about a couple of weeks or something.
So it was before 1930 then?
Well, I don't know what year.
What year did you meet Marie and Mo? About
I'd
1935?
say you and Mo are about 16 when you first met, wouldn't you say?
We were.
Yeah, I remember you went out one night and you went to go for a walk across the Merchant Road. I'd
Yeah.
say you must have been around 16, around there.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
But no, I was only a child.
1935.
But Mum took a great liking to you. She met you out to Mrs. Seward. She used to go
Right.
around with Mary, didn't you? You Mary Seward.
Not very much.
No,
Well,
Mary down, you
But
know.
we all knew one another.
Yeah, that's right.
See,
yeah.
and the respectable thing was to go into the funeral, because I don't know if Mrs. Ashley or who it was, told me, you know, there's a funeral, go in there. So your mother came over to me,
Yeah.
and she just stayed right with me and talked about her little girl, Margaret, you know, and I
Yeah.
got a nice little girl your age and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But,
So how long did you know their mother before their mother passed away?
Well, her
not
mother
very
was-
long.
Her mother was dead then. Your mother was dead when
You mean, you talking about my mother?
No, their mother.
Not very long. Not very long, because I remember seeing her mother with the woman, Mattie's wife.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her once, and she was a tall woman, dressed well. The two of them were together. And
Mark Fifield?
it seemed, what do you mean Mark Fifield?
Who's Mattie's wife? That's Mark Fifield.
No. They had an Uncle Matty that had a store.
Oh.
Out in Irving's Lane. And he was married to a woman by the name of Marshall.
No, his name was Marshall. Her name was Irwin.
Oh,
And it was called Irwin's Lane or Irwin's Road, was the right name.
Okay.
This
Now, the
one,
university
she owned it on that
She owned all that land where the
ground where the
university is built, you know.
university and the
She came
hospital.
well off family, you know, they were all,
she looked like a lady and
they were
dressed
all
like one.
doctors and lawyers and everything, you know.
And Bessie.
But
her name
he was Mom's
Earl.
brother, but he was
Aunt
in
Bessie,
real
is that what you
nuisance.
called her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her Uncle Matty was, they didn't like him. He was a
Yeah.
cranky, nasty
Frankie
thing.
Mack,
With old
Frank-
time.